Every year, every charity registered in Scotland must send us their annual accounts, trustee's annual report, external scrutiny report, and online annual return. Charities must submit this information to us within 9 months of their accounting year end. This video will explain how to use Oscar Online to submit this information. Firstly, search for Oscar Online in a search engine or go on our site www.oscar.org.uk. Log in using your charity number and password. If you have forgotten your password, insert your charity number, then click Reset Password. On the password reset screen, you'll be asked to put in your email address. This box is case sensitive. After you do this, an email is sent with a link that allows you to set a new password. This facility can only be used if it is the email address we hold on file. After you've logged in, click here to start the process. Here are 5 things to know before you fill in your online annual return. The I symbol will give you a more detailed explanation of a question. Answers to questions with this symbol will appear on the Scottish Charity Register. If you don't know the answer to a question, or if you want to come back later, please click Save at the bottom of the screen. The return will be saved as draft. You can retrieve the saved online annual return and complete the remainder on another day. Only put whole numbers in boxes where a number is required. You don't have to put in pence or the pound sign. The online system will only ask you the questions your charity needs to answer. After you click to begin completing an online annual return, you will go to this page. This information will already be filled in using the information we hold about your charity. Above section A, you will see 2 fields where the information has already been filled in. One of these is the charity number. Each Scottish charity has a 6-digit reference number with the prefix SC followed by a 0 and then 5 digits. This number is shown on the Scottish Charity Register. The legal name of your charity is shown on the Scottish Charity Register. You must seek Oscar's consent if you want to change your charity's name. Guidance about this can be found on our website. There are different questions on an online annual return depending on the size of the charity, but every charity must answer Section A. Section A is spread across 2 pages. After that, questions that don't apply to your charity won't appear on your online annual return. The initial questions in Section A will already be filled in using the information we hold about your charity. If you're a cross-border charity or a registered social landlord, some of the questions in this video may not appear because they are not relevant. If your charity has a gross income of less than £25,000, you only have to complete Section A, then submit your additional documentation. If something isn't right, you won't be able to continue after you click Save and Next, and there will be an error message in red next to the question that needs changed. The initial questions in Section A will already be filled in using the information we hold about your charity. This includes the contact details for your charity's principal contact. If you need to make changes to the contact details, you can do so where indicated on the form. A SCIO's contact must live in Scotland. Please enter any phone or fax numbers without spaces. There are a few questions on this page that we would like to explain further. The Scottish Charity Register must contain a separate entry for each charity. This should contain the address of the principal office of the charity. Where the charity does not have a principal office, you will need to supply the name and address of one of its charity trustees. This information will be shown on the Scottish Charity Register, for example, Charity Trustee, Mrs. A. Smith. The principal office or trustee address must be an address at which you will be able to deal with all official notices and letters which you receive from Oscar. If you use a PO box number, you must still provide a physical address and postcode. We can use the alternative contact email to get in touch with the charity if there are any problems with the principal contact's email address. When all of the details are complete and correct, hit Save and Next. The accounting reference date is the date of your charity's financial year end, sometimes known as the year-end date or period-end date. This information is shown on the Scottish Charity Register and will already be filled in. Changing your accounting reference date will change the date your annual return and accounts are due, as the submission deadline is 9 months following your year-end date. If you want to change the accounting reference date, save your progress, go to Home, then click here to view and update your charity details, and finally Update. You can now make the necessary change. Let's go back to the annual return form. The gross income is the total income from total receipts if your charity prepares receipts and payments accounts, or the statement of financial activities if your charity is preparing accrued accounts. Receipt of any donated asset which legally has to be held within a permanent or expendable endowment fund should not be included. The gross expenditure is the total expenditure from total payments if your charity prepares receipts and payments accounts, or the statement of financial activities if your charity is preparing accrued accounts. If you publish the accounts on your charity's own website, answer yes to this question and insert the direct link in section 4B. Oscar will include this link to your accounts information on your charity's register entry. It is a great way of you reaching a wider public, as you can also include other information you would like the public to see on the page that contains your accounts. Your charity's purpose is stated on its Scottish Charity Register entry. In order to achieve the purposes stated on the register, does your charity do any of the things in the question 6 list? Please tick all the options that apply, and if your charity does any things not listed, please describe these in the space provided. If your charity receives income from investments, for example, stocks, shares or bonds, please choose yes for this question. For the purposes of this question, we do not include bank interest as investment income. A charity trustee is a person having general control or management of the running of a charity. Enter the number of trustees and staff in these questions at the accounting period end date. Please let us know if your charity has children or vulnerable adults as beneficiaries. Read our safeguarding guidance for information on what you might need to do depending on your charitable activities. Cross-border charities are those registered with both Oscar and the Charity Commission for England and Wales. Cross-border charities will be asked one specific additional yes/no question on the annual return in relation to undertaking activities in Scotland. If your charity has a gross income of less than £25,000, when you click Save and Next, you will be asked to submit the charity's required documentation. If your charity's gross income is more than £25,000, you'll be asked more questions on the next page. If your charity's gross income is more than £25,000, you will now be asked additional questions. Remember, if you get stuck, use the I button. Please tell us here when the charity trustees last looked at and considered the content of its governing document. Your charity may know its governing document as a constitution, articles, rules or trust deed. A Scottish charitable incorporated organisation, SCIO, must have at least 3 charity trustees as stated in the SCIO regulations. For other legal forms, there is no legal number of charity trustees, but it is good practice to have at least 3. Most charity governing documents will set out a minimum number of charity trustees who must be in place to be able to make decisions for the charity. In the box below this question, we list basic financial control procedures for charities. They may not be applicable to every charity. However, for many, these procedures will be an important part of managing the charity's finances and fulfilling charity trustee duties. Charity trustees are people involved in the management and control of a charity. You may call yourselves a committee, a board, directors, or something less formal. The charity trustees for the last financial year should be listed in your charity's trustees' annual report. A person or organisation is connected to a charity trustee if they fall into one of the following categories. spouses, civil partners, and cohabitees of a charity trustee, child, stepchild, parent, grandchild, grandparent, brother or sister of a charity trustee, and a spouse of any such person. An institution controlled by a charity trustee, a person connected with them, or two or more trustees, connected persons when taken together. A body, corporate or company in which the charity trustee or a person connected with them has a substantial interest. A Scottish partnership, business, in which the charity trustee or a person connected with them is a partner. Please tell us about any payment or benefit received by a charity trustee or a person connected with a charity trustee. For example, out-of-pocket expenses paid to charity trustees, for instance travel expenses to attend meetings, are not considered remuneration. A charity is part of a group if it is a parent which owns a subsidiary company or a connected trading company. Where there is a close relationship with an umbrella charity or a number of funds, such as in a church, this does not mean a charity is part of a group. Consolidated accounts are accounts which consolidate the results of the group. If you are a parent charity and prepare consolidated accounts, these should be submitted and used to prepare your online annual return. If you are a subsidiary or connected company, you should submit your own individual accounts. Where your charity has received 20% or more of its income from a person or organisation connected to a charity trustee in the last financial year, please provide the details requested on the form. If your charity has a gross income of £25,000 or more, but less than £250,000, you will now be asked to submit your required documentation. If your charity has a gross income of £250,000 or more, you will now be asked to complete Section C. Charities with a gross income of £250,000 or more will now be asked additional questions. The headings of C1 to C10 are per a SORP compliant Statement of Financial Activities, SOFA, which you should legally be preparing at this income level. Remember, if you get stuck, use the I button. Donations and legacies is the voluntary income of the charity. Where a charity receives a gift for which there is no expectation of a benefit, it should be included here. This category includes donations and gifts made by individuals or companies, legacies, money or property left to a charity in a will, general grants, membership subscriptions and sponsorships where there is no benefit, donated goods, services and facilities, gift aid. Tell us in C2 the amount of income which is received through carrying out a charitable activity. This will mainly be trading which is within the charity's purposes, such as sales from a workshop whose purpose is to provide employment training, admission charges received by a heritage charity, or fees charged for admission to a play by a theatre group. Income which is ancillary to charities' activities, such as the selling of ice cream by a theatre group at their play, should also be included here. This question includes income from trading activities which are not within the charitable purposes and income from fundraising events. Any income from the sale of donated goods should also be included here. Answer C4 by telling us about income received from assets held by the charity for investment purposes. This includes interest received, dividend income, and rental income on investment properties. In other, input the amount of any items which cannot be classified under the income headings. Gains on sale of fixed assets will be shown here. Tell us in C6 the total income of the charity for the period as shown in the accounts. In the Raising Funds box, please type in all the money spent by the charity to generate funds for its charitable purposes. This includes costs of seeking donations, costs associated with a fundraising event, operation of charity shops, the operation of a trading company, and advertising costs. In C8, tell us the amount of money that the charity spends on carrying out its charitable activities. Charities may carry out their activities through direct service provision, grant provision, or a combination of both. All costs relating to this should be included here, including any support or governance costs which relate to the charitable activities. In other, tell us the amount which cannot be classified under the expenditure headings. Generally, there should be no requirement to use this. In C10, input the total expenditure of the charity for the period as shown in the accounts. If you are completing fully accrued accounts, the amount in this box will normally be cash and bank balances, plus debtors, plus other current assets, minus liabilities payable within 1 year. If you are completing fully accrued accounts, this should be clear from the balance sheet. It will normally be net current assets plus fixed assets and the long-term investments minus any long-term liabilities. After clicking Save and Next, you will be asked to submit your required documentation. In this section, you will be asked to tell us how you will submit your required additional documentation. You should submit the following: a signed copy of the charity's appropriate accounts, a signed trustee's annual report, a signed auditor or independent examination report. There are some templates for these documents on our website in the Receipts and Payments section. These templates apply to all non-company charities whose gross annual income is less than £250,000, £100,000 for periods starting before the 1st of April 2011, and where there is no requirement within the charity's constitution or by funders to prepare accrued accounts. We recommend that you send the documentation online. Because we require a signature on the documentation, you may have to print documents off and scan them back into your computer before uploading them. If you choose to post your documents, we must receive them within 28 days of the return submission. It is your responsibility to make sure we receive the documents. If you choose to submit your documents online, the next screen will ask you to upload them. Click Choose File to choose a document to upload. Once you have chosen your file, click Save to add it to the list and upload another. When you've uploaded all of your documents, click Save and Next. The final screen will ask the person submitting the online annual return to acknowledge and complete a few statement questions. Once you've answered them and clicked Submit, the process is complete. We will use the information you've provided to update the Scottish Charity Register. If anything is wrong, we will contact you. Detailed guidance on managing a charity can be found at www.oscr.org.uk/charities.